If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us. TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
Your computer or phone is your Flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website, it's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for Flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
When they start them there, we are top man, we take charge. Have no reaching out, we are shell down hard. Blast like a star, it's a man galapar. Overdo it, we take it too far. Take charge, take charge.
We are hot gal, we set the trend. Magnum we drink for the top man then. Wine with the style, no stop from spend. Hot blend, back bend, and take charge, take charge.
Magnum tonic wine, for the real star them. Take charge, take charge. Must be 18 or older, drink responsibly.
It's a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning here in St Kitts and Nevis, and you're listening to WINN FM 98.9. I am your host for today's edition of Voices, Devon Cornelius. Today is Wednesday, July 21st, 2021. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this edition of Voices. Good morning to all of you, and good morning to those who have joined us, of course, by whatever means you are joining, whether it be via radio, via the internet, via social media. I thank you guys so much for tuning into this edition of Voices. It is just 5 minutes past the hour of 11. And again, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Today we have quite an interesting lineup for you today. And of course, we look forward to your participation and your contribution to this program. For the first half, we're going to focus on the some recent development that have taken place, particularly on St. Kitts with the food vendors, where the government had asked them to cease their operations until they find a place that was suitable for them to continue their business. So there was a lot of back and forth and chatter as it relates to that. And of course, some social media protests where a number of persons took to social media to whether they were in support of or against the action that was taken. So we're going to entertain some discussion on that for the first segment of Voices. Then for the second half, we are going to head over to Nevis, and we're going to be speaking with the the leader of the Nevis Reformation Party, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, and she will be weighing in on the current state of affairs on Nevis. She will be giving her take on the position of mandatory vaccination for employees, whether for continued and future employment, among other issues, particularly affecting the island of Nevis. And so we hope to connect with her later this afternoon. Of course, you're going to have the opportunity to call in and pose your questions. If you have any questions that you would like me to pose on your behalf, you can send them to 662-2204, 662-2204 via WhatsApp. And if you don't have WhatsApp, you can send us an email at info, that's INFO, at WINN, WINN Media SKN.com. You can also leave us a message on our Facebook page at WINN Media SKN, and we will definitely be posing those questions and comments that you would like to contribute to today's edition of Voices. We'll say thank you to the sponsors for this edition, and when we come back, we're going to start this discussion. Let's give a shout out to the sponsors, and we will be back shortly.
Gift for Dad's birthday? Click. Ooh, Janice's retirement party? Click. Outfit for my girl's wedding? Click.
With TDC Airbox, you click, we ship. Register for your free U.S. mailbox today and shop all your favorite stores online. Enjoy the convenience. Free consolidation up to £10. Competitive rates. Free package tracking account with live notifications. Free delivery and, of course, excellent customer service. Visit our website at tdcairbox.com and register today. For more information, visit our offices at the C.A. Paul Industrial Site in St. Kitts and Penny's Industrial Site in Nevis. Follow us on social media at TDC Airbox. TDC Airbox. You click, we ship. Terms and conditions apply.
Your computer or phone is your flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website. It's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
Staying healthy has taken on a whole new meaning these days. So we ask, why do you put your health first?
As a business professional, I need to make the most out of my work days.
I'm a teacher, and I want to be there for my students.
In sports, I have to be in top form for my team.
Motherhood, I just got to keep up with my kids.
Because my patients rely on me to be at my best.
Staying healthy is important for many of us, and Halib Orange makes it easy. Just one 1,000 milligram tablet of vitamin C gives your immune system a flavorful boost, leaving you protected and feeling good for the day ahead. Halib Orange Vitamin C. Just pop the cap, drop it in water, let it fizz, and enjoy. Part of the Halib Orange family.
Welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. Good morning, and thank you guys so much for joining us today. It's 11 minutes past the hour of 11, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. So as I mentioned before, I wanted to touch on the decision that was taken by the government to ask or to have food vendors relocate. So from my understanding, it was for the food vendors to relocate to the public market. And for those who may not be in a position to relocate to the public markets, particularly those people who have the mobile, the food trucks. They were asked to cease operations until they were able to find a place for them to operate. Now, that decision created a lot of confusion and a lot of debate and a lot of protest in and around St. Kitts and Nevis, and of course, particularly on social media, where people began to air their grievances with the action that was taken. Some persons were in support of this, others were not. But from what I have gathered, from what I have witnessed and realized, is that most people were not in support of this action. The government said that they are actively working and trying to identify a space where they can have these food vendors and small businesses relocate, as they felt that where they were was not appropriate, in terms of selling around the Independence Square. They were not in support of that. They're now suggesting a particular area where you go to patronize these business. I don't think the problem was asking them to relocate to a different area. I think the problem was asking them to cease operations until they find a place for them to go. And most of the feedback that I saw was that the government should have allowed the food trucks and these small businesses to continue their operation until they find a place for them to go. However, these small businesses, these food trucks were asked to cease until they find a spot to them to go, which many persons thought was not, it wasn't the right thing to do, especially, just coming out of a lockdown, a 24-hour lockdown, where all of these businesses were closed and were unable to make a living for themselves and their families. And so that was a really harsh, in my opinion, measure taken by the government. However, the government has said that they are trying to find a space for these small businesses to relocate to. So this is the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. This is according to the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service, SKNIS. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis is currently expediting its preparations for an area along North Independence Square Street that will temporarily house a number of food truck vendors that once operated on the streets of Bastia. And so they have identified this area where they're asking these food vendors to go. So again, the issue was not, having them to move. From what I gathered, that is my, analysis of the situation. It was to ask them to stop their business until they find a spot. Now, what if you took a week or two? Then that means they would have been out of an income for a week or two. Well, that created a lot of debate and a lot of chatter on social media. Persons were of the opinion that these businesses should have been allowed to continue their operations, in light of the current situation where we had the restricted movement. St. Kitts in particular was under a 24-hour lockdown for 2 weeks. And so for that 2-week period, these businesses were unable to make a profit. They were unable to generate income. And most of the people that operate these businesses are, regular citizens who really try to make ends meet for them and their families, and really try to, go out and make an honest living. And so many of them thought that it was a harsh move and that they should have been allowed to continue their operation, instead of just having them stop completely until they find a spot for them to go. I have patronized some of these businesses before that would sell along the Independence Square there in Bastia. And from my point of view, and I would entertain yours later on in the program, but from my point of view, I don't see where it was an issue because they weren't bothering anybody. I'm pretty sure they've been there for some time, and they too make a contribution here in the society, here in the community, St Kitts and Nevis, St Kitts in particular. They were not in anybody's way, and so I don't see the reason behind moving them, because people selling in Bastia, has been a culture. However, I am in support of an organized approach, because to be frank, you can't have people just, setting up shop any and everywhere and selling where they think they should sell. There should be some sort of organization and making sure that certain things are in place, because really and truly, sometimes in Bastia, you can't get to do certain things because these vendors are just, on the sidewalks and in areas that they should not be. But I'm speaking in particular to the food vendors. For those that I know of, the food trucks, I don't think they were in a spot that was an issue to public safety or anything of that sort. I think for the most part, they were just there, applying their trade, doing their business, and, making sure that they earn an honest living, especially during this hard time of the COVID-19 pandemic. And so it really caused an uproar for them that they had to stop what they were doing until the government found a spot for them to relocate to. And that was really, some big chatter on social media. I want to entertain your comments and your opinions on this. So I'm going to open up the phone lines. You can call us at 466-0989, 762 and 662. Remember, you can send us your questions via 662-2204, which is our WhatsApp number. I want to hear your opinion on the action that was taken, and let us have a reasonable conversation at this time. We have our first call for the morning, so let us take this caller. Caller, good morning. You are live on Voices. Okay, we lost that caller. Let me apologize for that inconvenience. We are still taking calls at this time. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762-662. We have a caller on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You are live on Voices.
Morning, youngster. How you do? This is Duke.
Good morning.
Now,
how are you doing?
Pertaining to moving the people off the side of the road, I don't think the government should have moved them without knowing where that they're going. I'm talking about the food trucks.
Yeah.
But the big problem I have living in this country is this. When decisions like those supposed to be made, the people who are actually making them, they don't be as sympathetic dealing with a normal man as you would think. They're almost like they're dealing it, well, I got life good anyway, so it doesn't matter. No, we cannot deal with people like this. We got to remember people and the circumstances and the situation that they find themselves in. I always had a problem with the government attempting to move the people, nothing wrong in doing it, but not knowing where they're going. So that went wrong. Now that done gone wrong already. What we got to do, the government got to make sure they work fast to find somewhere for these people, because we got to remember that they're making an honest living. You see, they're working, and we must encourage people to work. This is the problem I got in this country. A lot of people getting the government money, but they have no intention of working for the money. And then there are those who trying hard to put up a little business some places to make money. We should lift them up and we should encourage them. So I am happy. I believe I heard you saying that north of Independence Square is where the government intend to put those people?
Yes, that's true. That's what they said.
Wow. Well, I am excited. And let me tell you something that was bothering me, and I asked a question about it this morning to the authority, and they answered me. You know, on the way going towards Marriott, going towards Frigate Bay, just before TDC where you buy the lumber, do you know that there's a section there where a truck there and some people selling food there too?
Okay,
or you don't know St Kitts that well? Are you aware of that place?
I am not familiar with the area.
From the fire station going towards Frigate Bay side, on the left there's an open piece of land with a nice stretch that I always think that the government should have put people and allow them to go.
Yes, okay.
This morning I asked a question if those people can stay there, and I was told yes. That's a brilliant idea. You see, I don't tell the government what to do because governments don't really listen to me. But what we got to do when we're dealing with people are going off the phone so somebody else could get a chance. We need to deal with people in a compassionate way. We need to deal with people and feel what they're feeling. Most times the people who are making decisions are not making those decisions in a compassionate way. But I'll continue to listen. I like to listen to you because you're young and you're very impressive, and I believe you have a long way to go in life. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dupont. You two have a good one. We are still taking calls here on WINN FM 98.9. This is Voices, and today is Wednesday, July 21, 2021, and I am your host for today, Devon Cornelius. We are entertaining your opinion and your comment on the decision that was taken by the government to have the food trucks and the food truck vendors, to cease operations until they find a spot for them to go. It is my understanding now, that they have identified an area where they intend to have these food truck vendors operate, and that is north of the Independence Square, and they hope to be communicating this in the near future to, of course, those persons that it will affect. What I would say is that a decision such as this should have been, they should have consulted with the people that it will affect. They should have consulted with the people it will affect. And if I may piggyback off of what the caller said, sometimes the people that are in the position to make these decisions, at times they are not as sympathetic or empathetic as one would expect them or like them to be. And so if you're going to make a decision that will affect the small man, the poor man, the man that is really trying to make a hustle and an honest living, then the right and ethical thing to do is to get their feedback and ask them for their position on the decision that the government, would like to take. Just as how we would have community town hall meetings to get the opinion of the villagers on when we're going to construct a road or when we're going to build something or whatever. The same should have been done in this regard, to get the feedback of the food truck vendors and to hear what they have to say with this decision and how would this impact them. That should have been the approach. And so, as I stated before, the uproar has not really been about the government, moving them, but it was moving them without identifying where they were going to go in the first place. And so essentially, you stop the operation of these businesses without a place for them to go. That was not a good move. We have a caller on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You are live on Voices.
Yeah, greetings. Follow through the word zone. Not a good move at all. And that's why we always echo the importance of inclusion, embrace people. I mean, during election time, we see that, that interacting with people. I mean, if the masses give the X's to put in a deal, according to the Westminster style system, they say, who get the most votes? Here again, you're talking about numbers. And then, it is even more than that, because when you become an administration or government, you become so for everybody, even them who not vote for you. Why we not seeing this flexing out? Embrace the people. Embrace the people. And when we say the people, we mean people, you know. We mean every smarty. Even Roach and Pinder. Why these people can't see this and flex it out in every way, in everything that they do? And we keep saying, you know, that we won't see these touchable realities until the right faces are in the right places. It's not about the Westminster style system. It's about people. It's about people. It's about people. And it's the Westminster style system dictating. Otherwise, that you don't put people first. Everybody. Then, if you don't know with it. And if it is a dis-ease or disease, all who get that dis-ease or disease, for just back way. Some see it. We have a story as a people in the earth. We experience human cargo. We experience that. Bob Marley sing it. We are the blacks as born as him be. Look on him complexion. But him know. I come from the womb. We are the people. We are the black survivors. Give thanks for listening. Blessed Lord.
Thank you so much, caller, for your contribution. Thank you so much for being a part of our program. We're still taking calls at this time on WINN FM 98.9. The phone lines are open. Feel free to call us and share your opinion on this recent development here in St. Kitts. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. Remember, you can also send us a WhatsApp message at 662-2204, or you can reach us via Facebook at WINN Media SKN. We are taking your calls and comments at this time. So, you know, essentially it's just to get your feedback on the approach, whether you are in support of the approach or not, and then of course for you to explain your position on or explain your answer rather. We have a caller on the line. Let us take this call. Caller, good morning. You are live on Voices.
Yes, greetings again forwardly. We like to say to the vendors, you know, them who into vending, we are a predominant people. We go through it, you know, so we know struggle. So see the good in everything. And, you know, we like to echo something that we said before. Rock bottom. We teach our lessons that mountaintop never, ever will. Give thanks.
Right, thank you, caller, for your contribution. Let us take this short break to say thank you to the sponsors for this program. When we come back, we are going to continue taking your calls. Let's take this break, and we will be back shortly.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drugstore's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drugstore's curbside pickup service.
energize your goals with Lucozade. Get it cool. Look under the cap, find the code, win it. Thousands in prizes, iPhones and TVs. Or win 30 grand US dollars for your goals. That's goals.
For a chance to win 30,000 US dollars. Purchase any Lucozade Energy promo bottle. Look under the cap and find the code to win iPhones, TVs, and free Lucozade for 30,000 US dollars to energize your goals. See website, social media, or press for details. Lucozade, taste the energy.
Your computer or phone is your flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website, it's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
Voices on WINN FM 98.9. We have a caller on the line. Caller, good morning. You are live on Voices. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Apologies for that. We have another caller on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You are live on Voices.
Good morning, Mr. Cornelius.
Good morning.
I have not spoken to you in a while, but I'm here. Sometimes I listen, learn, you know. Topic at hand, I did not quite catch it. I can't tune in when the gentleman, Eli was talking, but you know, what is the topic?
The topic is about the food vendors. We're sticking to that today. With the food vendors, the government had asked them to cease their operations until they found a suitable spot for them to operate.
Okay. Well, there's two aspects in terms of who was applying the trade in terms of food provision. And I always said from the previous administration that if I was to kind of give an advice, I have traveled Caribbean, St. Vincent. I've seen what the marketplace would have looked like. And officials from St Kitts and Nevis do travel there also, and they would have seen. And they could have replicated that. I have seen over the years, it was the effort to upgrade the marketplace was a piecemeal effort in terms of spending here and spending there and spending there. It accumulates. So I would have thought that collectively they would have all looked at things and do it efficiently to really, you know, be effective, because the marketplace as we know it has outlived its usefulness because of and ever since this thing that came upon us, we realized that even if government did not pay attention to agriculture, they would have paid attention to agriculture. You can attest to that, as to what money they would have invested into agriculture, be it food or fisheries, what have you, food security. All of that, the marketplace have lived out its usefulness in terms of space. So that was a moment for designing something in a multiple aspects so we can accommodate not just the provision providers, but others. Because we can see persons who will be vending on the street. It's not just provision. It's not just cooked food. It's like cannery, you know, local crafts and the likes, and even clothing, attire. So, you know, you build something multi-purpose to accommodate all those persons. Because that is how, believe it or not, that is how some big businesses today started. And so that is my take on that, except to say that the food vendors that was around the square, even though I was told that it was conflicting with the news, when I asked me, are there, this thing applied to them as opposed to persons who would have really occupied the walking spaces on the sidewalk. That was atrocious. We know that something was to give. But some of that provision was made to marketplace. But the food vendors around the square, the four proprietors around the square, what I've noticed, it came down to a traffic violation, like where their transportation is not mobile and all of that. It's not so much for providing the food, because the square is an ambience where even persons in business places will come and eat. And, it's an ambience. Except for we have a way of, disposing our garbage. Garbage is not in the correct way. But you cannot blame that on the vendors, even though they have a responsibility to collect garbage. So, but what I witnessed is the day, it was 2 days, I think it was the Wednesday or the Thursday or the Friday. One of the officers, when a gentleman must be said to him, that he needs something to eat, one of the officers would have said to, you can go up there and patronize that type of business. That type of business up there. Now, you cannot say that to anyone because people have to be careful of what they're putting into their bodies. There's the old saying that was given to a Greek guy called Plato, let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. When I went to the doctor, you know what the doctor told me? I must go and eat Rasta food. Me, growing up eating Rasta food all those years, renege. But my condition is only Rasta food could have done the repair on a consistent basis. That is what my doctor told me. I was blown away. One has to be careful. Here's the young man who came and wanted to get something to eat, and she's going to refer to some Chinese food where the way they would do their business is not compatible with what he wants to eat to help him to heal his body, especially the fried rice. In that type of oil that cannot stand the type of heat, and the oil might be being used and used and used and used. Rancid. We cannot afford to be eating like that. Our human bodies deserve more better attention and taken care of. But for those who want to go and eat that way, that's so be it. But others see the need and would know that to eat this way is about healing your body, rebuilding the cells in your body and trying to grow your body cells back if you have any. Food can do that. Let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. So for the lady, for the police officer to tell the guy, go up there, I think that was really bothering and not knowing how essential and important your body is and what you should put in your body to heal the body and the type of pain that body is just go through. That was my take on it. But I'm glad that, government is trying to get some location, but you have to do it in a way that you don't disrupt people's life, because here is it, persons are coming out from the pandemic. We're glad for a whole week where we can breathe and, gather our finances and economics and the like. And then having to move, where you're going to go? You're going to just go home? But if you live deep in the rural side, not really positioning yourself to earn a penny, having rent to pay, and all of these things, having to buy food stuff to cook your food. All of these things have to be taken into consideration. So I'm glad that they're finding a permanent location, because I was told that some of them who is around the square was located elsewhere before. So you just can't tell me move, not without an alternative, and then I'm going to move to be told move again. Designate an alternative where I can go there without any more disruption, prior notice, way ahead, so as things progress, we can work with it, both the officers, government, and both the proprietors, to resolve things in an amicable way. That's my take. Thanks for listening.
Right. Thank you, caller, so much for your contribution. We're still taking calls here on WINN FM 98.9. It is 19 minutes to the hour of 11. Hour of 12, sorry. 19 minutes to the hour, and we're still taking your calls. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. We are taking your contribution at this time. Your take on the decision by the government. We have a caller on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You are live on Voices.
Greetings, Father Grace. We are in a global pandemic. We are in a state of emergency. Okay? So, I'm thinking for the state, you know. So, we have to do things differently. Okay, the vending has been a long time so therefore we knew about it. As my sister and my family, my family would say, nip it in the bud, and that is the right way. Now make it get out of order. Me see some things in Jamaica, see. Hey, anyhow, so we have to deal with this issue of crowding and whatever to go with the protocol of getting back to normalcy. Okay. The food, every sector. Let's step on the food around the square. All right. We have intention of moving you know, but we ain't telling you yet. So, you see that place there, that place there, that is now in the find the money. And me don't put in money, you know, because me send container this, you know, with one person who is around the screen, you know. Because this is itself as government, you know. We're not playing this thing, you know. Because we feel the excess. But who's supposed to be there? There. Whether it turn out that they're not for there, they say, are not. So set the thing. And the people you deal with, set the thing and say, look now, even the people see what can go on, they're not going to go on, you know. Because some people cannot, some people don't know. We have situation where government business leak out the door. But not everything have a leak out the door. There's faithful soldiers. So, the thing I said, nobody know what go on, and then we said to them people, you see your sector with this food thing on the square, you're not by the sidewalk, but pedestrian and what they saw. Move from yourself, what they saw. Set yourself. You see the garbage thing? Me see my brethren talk about the garbage thing. You see all these nasty people about the place? Big up clean people all over the world. Big up. You see all the nasty people? We set bins for honor, and if we don't use the bins and continue with the nastiness we want to bring from home, we soon come to one thing, you know. We deal with it, we deal with it, seriously. We don't set the way out, we deal with it, you know. We tax in a pocket. Till we are broke and don't have the money. And then we start to send in a prison. And the working prison so clean. Because we are changing the mentality, you know. Because we know that this is that, you know. In a nasty mind. Because we teach white people to build in Europe, you know. We listen, you know. Clean people. So we're going to back over that. You don't move so with people speaking about eating. You know what we notice? People who eat anything and almost everything, as Bob Marley saying, eating up all this flesh off of the earth. Them have a gross with people who don't eat them really. And people who know, you see, I not put flesh in my mouth from when, 16, 17, somewhere around there. I forget all them things that yes. Not even fish. I don't eat nothing that I have to kill. The earth, the Genesis say, Genesis, the first book of the Bible, behold, Man, woman, I have given you every green herb of the field. To you it shall be for meat. MEAT. What is
Right.
slumber inside of that you can understand?
Right, caller. We want to take some of the calls at this time before we wrap up, so we'll end this call with you
terrible.
and get some other callers. Right, thank you, caller, for your contribution. We are taking some more calls at this time. It's 11:47. We want to get in as much calls as possible before we wrap up at 12. So we will take some more calls. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. We have a caller on the line. Let us take this call. Caller, good morning. You live and voices.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing fine,
Well,
thanks.
Good. This topic is a very strong topic and very interesting. But the thing is that practically no matter what direction you go, somebody going to agree with you and somebody going to disagree with you. So the thing is that when every vendor move on the street, they could and should move with an intention and know that there will be a time when they will be moving and have to move, especially if they're on the sidewalk where pedestrians have to walk. They just put pedestrians to walk in the street. And most pedestrians like it because it's convenient, and at the same time, they don't like it when they don't need anything to buy from them. So people like things when it suits them, and when it don't suit them, they don't like it. But the thing is, what happened is that having the vendors, that's practically in a place where they make a living. And we know that we had the Dominica boat used to come here, I think it's every Monday. And all the Dominicans find themselves in the market, and everybody goes to the market to buy. Having said that, Rams had a supermarket in Bastia, and they found that it's kind of crowded, so they put one at Boardwalk. They even spread out and put one down at Camps area. And Best Buy and all of those spread out. And people find themselves in those supermarkets to shop. The thing is that the Chinese come to St Kitts, and they find spots in St Kitts to rent or purchase where they set up shop. The vendors are still on the street. Having heard that, having said that, that there have been circulation of news going around St Kitts that the government had the intention of moving the vendors because there was so much complaint concerning the issues, because some of them even take gas tank down on the street and set up with big pots and pans and start cooking and selling and all kind of things on the sidewalk. And so it becomes, to some people, disgusting and some people comfortable for convenience. And so they, in my mind, should have get together sometime, plan the game, and move somewhere forward, and maybe rent a place until they might be able to buy it and set up like a vendors areas where they could have been. This is not the first time they have been moved off the street. They have been moved in a place where I think is Astafan used to be at one time. And for some reason or another, whatever the conflict is, they had to move out of there, and that's how they get back on the street. So this is nothing new. In my view, is that if the government said to move off the street, I think that everyone should move promptly. Don't give any trouble. Just move off the street and plan your strategy. Because when you do that, when you comply and move off the street, in the meantime, you negotiate and seek some places to go. Because the street you drive a car, right? You have a right to park it when you want to park it and which area. But some places you just can't park there because that equipment is fixed there. And it don't move, flat tires, nobody move it, and it's been there for a long time. Mm-hmm. And so, like
so
you say,
actually,
like
So if I may engage you a bit, so you mentioned coming up with a strategy. Are you speaking to the food vendors or the government?
See, the both sides. The government could plan, and both food vendors could plan. But the food vendors, you see, when you're in business, you cannot post too much on government, because if you put too much load on government, they will own you. They will control you. The government can't even control some of the ministries, so they could control you who doing a private business. So you have to plan your strategy around these things, because you know that in any moment, once people complain enough, they will have to act. they'll have to move you off the street. You just can't remain there. So therefore, plan your act and act your game. Up your game, because if you don't up your game, at the same time. Huh?
Right, but I have a question for you. Do you think, you know where the food vendors operate, particularly those around the square in Bastia? Do you think they were a threat to public safety?
In terms of where they operate around the square, if it's a threat to public safety?
Yeah, so where the food vendors are now, do you think they are a threat to public safety?
Well, I'll answer the question like this. Public safety, in my view, no. The other answer question coming back to you. You have a car. Can you park where the vendors park? Don't you have the same right that they have to park there? Don't you pay the same license for the same vehicle that you have? When you arrive and the vehicle is there for 24/7 round the clock all year and you can't move, what happened to your car too? You also have rights to, And this effort here will give some vendors some different ideas that they probably will be elevated to higher than where they are. Because sometimes when you're in a job and you get fired, you only see opportunity come when you leave, So some of these vendors are going to improve on what they're doing because they have the skill, they have the customer, they build the customer base, people know them, and people go to places where they are, and people will actually buy from them still. So opportunity will always arise. But at the same time, when government say one must move, if they don't move all, they're going to have problem because all must move, and then they could come back. You could bring them back where you want and put them where you want them. But when they say move, everybody should move. Because if everybody don't move, everybody going to come back. Because it's easy. There's no rent. There's no nothing. You just come put down your things and you sell. And you go.
No.
They're willy-nilly. No. Everybody, when one pop up here, another one pop up there, and so on. So it has to be done in an organized manner. I like the members. I do like them. But at the same time, there are rules. Because if there's no rules.
Caller?
Yes.
For those who operate their food truck, the food truck vendors, it is a case where they have to pay their business license and other tax related fees. So I don't think it is a case where they just put the truck there and they operate at no expense. They operate by paying their tax to the Inland Revenue Department, their business license, and other costs related to the operation of the business that the government would benefit from. But I see
I'm not cutting you off, but I want to jump in here. Taxis per business license too. But during December, they took some stupid container in the circus and throw them out. When the time for the taximen to make some money, that is when they throw them out of the circus. So at the same time, even though you pay business license, you pay business license, you pay driver's license, you pay vehicle license. But when they say move, you need to move. Even though you grumble and you don't like it, you have to move.
Right, I understand what you're saying, Carla. But I mean, what I'm saying, and I totally respect your opinion. But what I'm saying, I don't think you should just tell them move because you have the power to. But telling them to move without finding an immediate solution is not the right way to go. I'm not against moving them, don't get me wrong. But if you're going to ask them to move, come up with an immediate solution, because remember, most of these food truck operators, this is their only source of income. So when you ask them to move, you're also taking bread out of their mouth. So while I'm not against asking them to relocate, that is totally fine. But you come up with an immediate solution, because this is basically where they make their money to stay afloat,
I could agree with that too, but if somebody is telling you, if you say we ain't coming, you're not going to put out an umbrella? Come on, you're going to sit down there and say, let me see if we ain't going to wet me? No. You go to them and you say, hey, look, what about if you're going to move me from here? Can we go B? Can we go C? You discuss it. And you open a thing of dialogue, because you know that they're being pushed to say move the people from where they are. And you in the business, you don't sit down and wait for government to act for you. You act. You ask, you find out, you challenge. And you sit down and say, oh, they meet me here all the time and I'm accustomed to come. So they're supposed to find a way for me. I like the vendors. Trust me, I got nothing against them. But at the same time, government need to plan something, the vendors themselves need to plan something to that will be accepted. You just can't sit down and wait for government to come and do that for you. Don't wait for handout. Plan your strategy, ask and request, and when you speak to the public, then the public will say, hey, look, because public opinion is very important. Public opinion will say, okay, they've been discussing all the time, and so they say, West Square Street is good, North Square Street is good, this is not good. Okay, so give me an alternative. They throw an alternative, say, no, this is not workable, this is workable. It's discussion, dialogue. Because when you close dialogue, you close off everything. You have to communicate. You have to keep on talking because communication is the key. You communicate with the customer. You communicate with government because, I noticed that you only touch one the food vendors. What about the other vendors who sell on these other sidewalks on the street? Those who have the vehicle. People have vehicles on the street, and I like those people because they do good, but at the same time, some of them have a vehicle, and those have not been moved for years. I don't even have the license because the tires are always flat. So to me, in my view, vehicles like those should be taken off the street at night, take home, sanitize, clean, refresh, and come back in the next day if you're going to sell. So to leave a fixed thing on the road, to me, that's not one of the best things. The things must not only be clean, but
we're gonna have to end this call because we're at the end time of the program. So let's wrap it up quickly.
Have a good day, sir.
Right. Thank you so much, caller, for your contribution. Thank you so much for being a part of this program. We're at about just 1 minute before midday, so we're going to begin wrapping up this program. If I may provide some clarity, when I say that the businesses or the food truck operators are paying business license, I'm not saying that gives them the absolute right to set up anywhere in and around Basia to sell. But the caller was saying that some of them just come and set up and sell. So I was trying to provide some clarity to say that these people pay business license. I'm not saying that to say because they pay business license, they should be allowed to sell anywhere. I'm saying that the reality is they don't just, set up shop and sell and not have to pay some sort of tax or some sort of business license or whatever other fees they would have to pay to the Inland Revenue Department. I guess going forward, the government would have to work out something between the food truck operators where they can sell in a particular area, that would not be in anybody's way, because the callers before made a very good point in terms of, people wanting to have space to park. I think that is what the caller was trying to bring out as well. People wanting to have space to park. But this is a continuing conversation, and I hope to have another conversation on this. For those of you who tuned in late, the conversation was centered around the decision by the government to have the food truck operators to cease operations until they find a suitable area for them to apply their trade. As it is now, I have been informed. I came across an article from the St Kitts and Nevis Information Service, that's SKNIS, and they have reported that the government has identified an area north of Independence Square where they intend to have these food truck vendors operate. So I guess they would communicate, or maybe they have done so, but they will communicate to the food truck operators as to where they will be relocated. It is the end of our first hour, first segment of Voices here on WINN FM 98.9. We're going to come back around 12:30 thereabout, and we're going to be speaking with the political leader of the Nevis Reformation Party, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, to get her view on the current state of affairs as it relates to Nevis. If you have any questions, comments, and you would like to participate, please don't hesitate. You can send us a question at 662-2204. You can also send us questions at info@WINNmediaSKN.com, and you can leave us a comment or a question via Facebook at WINN Media SKN. Let's take this break for the headline news and we will be back.
Your computer or phone is your flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website, it's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
Insurance Company Limited. We care about your investment. Guarantee you peace of mind. The best team in the business. Guarantee you peace of mind. No other company will guarantee you peace of mind. Together we'll succeed and guarantee you peace of mind.
CDC Insurance Company Limited, where you get more coverage for less.
When they start them there, we are top man, we take charge. Have no reaching now, we are shell down hard. Blast like a star, it's from a gallopar. Overdo it, we take it too far. Take charge, take charge.
Yeah, and that we set the trend. Magnum we drink for the top man them. Wine with the style, no stop from spin. At blem, back bend, and take charge, take charge.
Magnum tonic wine, the real star them. Take charge, take charge. Must to be 18 or older, drink responsibly.
You found the sound. 98.9 WINN FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Caribbean.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
With the WINN Headline News, I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Devon Cornelius.
Making the headlines: Plastic Be Gone campaign, single-use plastics, low cost, high price. In the Bahamas, a Pan-American Health Organization representative says a pandemic is not over for vaccinated persons. Mehul Choksi says he is open to going to India to clear his name in an exclusive interview with ABS Antigua. Internationally, at least 25 people have died in China's flood-stricken central province of Henan. A dozen of them in a subway line in its capital that was drenched by what weather officials called the heaviest rains in 1,000 years. Now, the details. Although late because of the 24-hour lockdown the Federation was under, the Ministry of Tourism and the Solid Waste Management are using the rest of July to advocate against single-use plastic. In a press release from the St Kitts and Nevis Information Service, it stated that the Ministry of Tourism continues its Plastic Be Gone campaign, previously the Plastic Free July movement in July. One of the driving forces behind the movement against single-use plastics is the impact on the environment. Anita Lake, the collections manager with the Solid Waste Management Corporation, during the Traffic Talk segment of Island Tea, spoke about some of the health concerns that single-use plastics have on the environment and, by extension, our health. Lake touched on the long-term effects of single-use plastics, citing that while it is convenient to buy a bottle of water, it would be more cost-efficient to use reusable containers to transport water or tea and encourage reusable shopping bags for grocery shopping. She also spoke about the concerns the Solid Waste Management Corporation had as it relates to plastic pollution in the sea, considering the supply of fish that comes from our waters to supermarkets, various government fisheries, and fishermen.
And we are concerned about all those plastic that is going into the ocean. Over and over again, we keep saying, when the fishes eat the plastic, we eat the fish. And so we are eating plastic.
Plastic fish.
Plastic fish. Well, at one time they said they had plastic rice. Do you remember?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And plastic cabbage. Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So you know, these are things we want to encourage our people to really try and avoid as much as possible. I know, like I said, it's convenient to just go and grab, but at the end of the day, your health is also at risk.
Right.
She made those remarks during the July 20th edition of Island Tea. The Plastic Be Gone campaign is being held under the theme Single-Use Plastics, Low Cost, High Price. In relation to the theme, Sustainable Tourism Coordinator in the Ministry of Tourism, Kenny Manning, said in an interview with SKNIS that sometimes people look at the initial upfront cost of things in terms of the price of plastics. It is cheap, it is convenient, and of course, there are benefits overall. Further adding that in the long road, a higher price is paid with community and beach cleanups, health issues, the pollution of our marine environment, and the loss of plant life and fish life. In the release from the Information Service, they also announced some activities being observed for the month of July, which includes online quizzes, awareness videos, and a panel discussion to be scheduled.
In the Bahamas, a Pan American Health Organization representative says a pandemic is not over for vaccinated persons. Eyewitness News has that report.
Despite the declaration made by Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis yesterday that the COVID-19 pandemic for the vaccinated is over, the Pan American Health Organization's representative for the Bahamas, Dr. Eldana Boysen, making it unequivocally clear tonight that the pandemic rages on, even for those who are vaccinated. This as 81 new COVID-19 cases were confirmed today. Now, Dr. Boysen says that while persons have been inoculated, they must continue to adhere to all of the health guidelines, noting that they can still contract COVID-19. The representative also stating tonight that at least 70 to 80% of the population must be fully vaccinated in order for the pandemic to be officially declared over.
For persons who are vaccinated, what that means is that they are no longer at risk of getting severe disease or dying of COVID-19. Their risk is tremendously reduced. That's what vaccination means. Vaccination does not mean that the person cannot come into contact with COVID and cannot transmit it. That still can happen. The likelihood is reduced somewhat, but not significantly enough to stop transmission. As such, basically, the pandemic is not over for anybody until the pandemic is over for everybody. It's a pandemic. So until the world has it under control, nobody has it under control.
Mehul Choksi says he is open to going to India to clear his name in an exclusive interview with ABS Antigua.
Exclusive this evening, Indian diamond mogul Mehul Choksi says he plans to make efforts to clear his name amidst fraud charges in his native India. He has not ruled out traveling to India to do so when he's well enough to travel.
And I always wanted to go back to India to prove myself if my health improves. I've always invited them that if they want to interrogate me here, they want to do by Zoom also, I'm always available. So these are all, and I didn't travel anywhere. I haven't even seen Barbuda. Honestly, I haven't traveled due to my health. I haven't traveled anywhere. And diligently, I'm attending nothing else. I'm retired. I'm doing nothing else but attending my case properly.
Meanwhile, he insists he was kidnapped from Antigua and Barbuda by men of Indian descent and whisked away to Dominica. The diamond mogul, whose extradition is being sought by authorities in his native India, tells ABS News his assailants had planned to transfer him from a boat to a plane. He arrived back in Antigua last week after being granted bail to access medical treatment. He explains he will be receiving specialist treatment from a neurologist.
Apart from neurology, my heart and everything, maybe I'll fly down somebody from America, neurosurgeon if it is required, but this is what I'm going to go through. Of course, I'm in quarantine, and once I feel better, I take permission and go to treat myself.
We will have more from that exclusive interview with Mehul Choksi on Wednesday.
We now bring you these international reports.
Floodwater wreaking havoc across China's Henan province, the damage visible as far as the eye can see. The army is warning one of the region's 7 stricken dams may collapse at any time, risking the lives of around 7 million people. Heavy downpours have flooded streets, stranding travelers, bringing the region to a standstill. Cars are completely submerged as residents are swept away. Underground, unmistakable panic among these passengers trapped inside a submerged subway car. Waist-deep waters rising to their shoulders. Emergency crews reportedly opening a hole in the roof, evacuating passengers one by one. This terrifying moment shows bystanders swallowed by a sinkhole, with the crowd rescuing this woman. A deafening explosion at this aluminium factory after a nearby river burst its banks. The floodwater mixed with chemicals, lighting up the night sky. The government has been upgrading its emergency response, with crews working round the clock to rescue residents inside their flooded homes and cars. Increased urbanization and climate change has worsened the impact of floods in recent years. This is the most rainfall the region has seen in 6 decades, with no sign of letting up anytime soon.
And Katrina joins us live now from Beijing. Katrina, so this flooding in Henan province has been pretty severe. I mean, how badly has it affected critical infrastructure in the region?
Hi, Darren. Well, there are at least 5 million people living in the city of Zhengzhou, and many of them are currently without electricity, fresh running water, internet or gas. Many locals that we have spoken to are actually going into their cars and using their cars to charge their mobile phones, which are their only connection to the outside world. In terms of other infrastructure, most public transport has been suspended. So many roads, main roads are blocked, they're flooded. Buses have been cancelled, subways have been closed, as well as the airport. Now, 100,000 people have been relocated because of this wet weather, unprecedented for many of these locals in their lifetimes. Many that we have spoken to have said this is the worst that they've ever seen it. Those who can stay home have been warned by the government to remain indoors to stay safe. Now, it's been raining quite heavily in Zhengzhou for at least 3 days, but the worst of it came on Tuesday afternoon at about 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. local time. In the space of just 1 hour, 20 centimeters of rain fell, and many of the subways in the eastern part of the city, the most low-lying part of the city, were quickly submerged, and that's where tragically many of these 12 people who have been confirmed dead had lost their lives. Now, the government has sent in 10,000 people, a mixture of firefighters and soldiers, to participate in this rescue operation. And the warning level, the emergency level, remains at its highest. But it's not just Zhengzhou, the city, that has been affected. Neighboring areas are also affected, as well as the city of Luoyang, which is about 130 kilometers to the west of Zhengzhou. Now, this city has a very crucial dam, the Yihetan Dam, which was breached overnight by 20 meters of water. Authorities announced a warning that this dam could collapse at any moment. They are monitoring it and reinforcing it as we speak. And overnight, authorities also exploded parts of the dam in the lower parts of the river to relieve pressure on that dam and protect the 7 million people who live in the city of Luoyang. But they're still working very hard with authorities on high alert. Heavy rain is expected for at least another 2 days, and many locals say they are terrified and shocked and trying to stay safe and as dry as possible.
All right, Katrina, you live for us there in Beijing. Katrina, thank you.
The formal swearing-in of Ariel Henry as Haiti's new Prime Minister is an attempt to end days of uncertainty following the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse. Acting Prime Minister Claude Joseph appeared to be in charge following the brazen attack on Moïse. He stepped aside to allow Henry to take the reins. The 71-year-old neurosurgeon is calling for unity, but he's facing a long list of social and political issues.
We will create a secure, reliable and stable environment to facilitate political activities throughout the country. We will expect massive participation in the next presidential elections, the highest participation of citizens of voting age.
Henry has appointed his cabinet with the goal of leading Haiti to new elections. That's been problematic previously, leading to Moïse ruling by decree, but Haiti's future may depend on a free and fair vote.
This government won't think for the people. They're unpopular. They're only thinking for the elite again, at the expense of the Haitian people. We can't expect anything serious from this government.
We say to this new government, welcome, because we, the Haitian people, we want actions from them. We would like the new government to solve the crisis of the country, to solve the problems of slum neighborhoods.
Many Haitians see these as dangerous times, and Henry's international backing is regarded by some as a problem.
Anybody they sort of back or anoint or push is going to be seen with a lot of skepticism by the Haitian people, I think. People are very wary of international community involvement in Haiti at this time. But of course they want aid, but they don't want the interference and meddling.
Memorial services for 53-year-old Jovenel Moïse are being held, even as the investigation into his assassination continues. On Tuesday, Haitian authorities made more arrests, including people said to be police officers, but they appear no closer to finding out why he was killed.
The cowardly assassination of the President of the Republic constitutes a real national drama. We have a duty to consider it as such, including those in hiding and in any counter-conflict.
While the international community is pushing this impoverished nation to hold elections, others say voting won't solve Haiti's problems. Many key institutions have failed, gangs control large parts of Port-au-Prince, and the economy lays in ruins. The stakes for Haiti couldn't be higher. Andy Gallagher, Al Jazeera.
Five, 4, command engine start. 2, 1.
From deep in the heart of Texas, the richest man on planet Earth blasted off into outer space. The Blue Origin rocket, carrying Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, his brother Mark, 82-year-old female Mercury space program pioneer Wally Funk, and 18-year-old Dutch space enthusiast Oliver Damon, climbed at 3 times the speed of sound, crossing the 100-kilometer boundary that marks the edge of space. The 4 passengers exclaimed with delight as they experienced several minutes of floating around the capsule in zero gravity. The New Shepard's windows are the largest ever in any spacecraft, affording them a view of the Earth far below with the darkness of space above. The entire flight was fully automated. There was no pilot and no control panel. Instead, software and ground control did all the work.
And now they're coming floating back down at...
The capsule began its descent and deployed its parachutes to land safely in the desert scrub. From beginning to end, the flight took just about 10 minutes. Bezos summed up the experience.
Best day ever.
Later, the newly minted astronauts spoke at a press conference.
Oh my God! My expectations were high and they were dramatically exceeded.
I hope that we are one of the first, and let's hope that many, many more people can do this, because this experience you should share with more and more people.
We had a great time. It was wonderful. I want to go again fast.
Bezos' flight came just over a week after British billionaire Richard Branson flew to the edge of space. Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk is also reportedly interested in making the trip at some point. Many have criticized the exploits of space-smitten billionaires as a galaxy-sized ego competition, costing billions of dollars that could have been better spent to alleviate misery on Earth, particularly in the midst of a deadly pandemic. But others hope the stunning pictures will rekindle some of the excitement about space travel that has waned since Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon 52 years ago to the day.
Bezos' best day ever could signal the beginning of a lucrative suborbital space tourism industry, with well-heeled individuals paying vast sums of money to momentarily slip the surly bonds of Earth. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, Van Horn, Texas.
You were listening to the WINN FM headline news on 98.9. Our top stories were: Plastic Be Gone campaign, single-use plastics, low cost, high price.
In the Bahamas, a Pan American Health Organization representative says a pandemic is not over for vaccinated persons. Mehul Choksi says he is open to going to India to clear his name in an exclusive interview with ABS Antigua. Internationally, at least 25 people have died in China's flood-stricken central province of Henan. A dozen of them in a subway line in its capital that was drenched by what weather officials called the heaviest rains in 1,000 years.
Thank you for listening.
That was the WINN FM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Caribbean.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortspur's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortspur's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortspur's Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, By land, sea, or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. WINN FM.
Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tag Specials from July 15 through 28. 32-ounce Gatorade, just $4.99. Hawaiian Punch drinks, $11.99. Dannon and Activia yogurts, 4 packs, fit and light, just $12.99. Cole's garlic bread, toast, $12.99. Granola bars, just $10.99 per pack. Pastaroni or rice-a-roni, just $4.99. And now, our very low weekly value deals. Essential Everyday and IGA Honey Beer, $12.99. Breyers Ice Cream, 48 ounces, just $20.99. Colgate Toothpaste, $9.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart. Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí a Value Mart.
Good afternoon, St Kitts and Nevis. Good afternoon and welcome to Voices here on WINN FM 98.9. I am your host for this afternoon, Devon Cornelius, and thank you guys so much for tuning in to this edition of Voices. It is 12:36, and as mentioned before, I am joined with the leader of the Nevis Reformation Party, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, who will be my guest for this afternoon, and we will be speaking about some issues as it relates to the island of Nevis. Dr. Daniel Hodge, good afternoon, and thank you for accepting our invitation here at WINN FM to be a guest on this program. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius, and it's my pleasure to be here. I must say that I'm getting quite comfortable with WINN FM. I do enjoy your shows, and I am very happy to be here this afternoon. Thank you.
Right, and again, thank you so much for accepting the offer. So for those of you who tuned in late, this is Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, and she is the leader of the Nevis Reformation Party. And this afternoon, we will be speaking about some issues as it relates to Nevis. Of course, I will be giving members of the public the opportunity to call in and to pose the questions that they may have. And of course, for those of you who are unable to call in, you can also pose your questions via our WhatsApp number, which is 662-2204. Dr. Daniel Hodge, good afternoon. And I am going to allow you to begin with some of the issues that you would like to bring up as it relates to Nevis, and I will pose some questions thereafter.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cornelius. As you are aware, we are now living in a time period. I listened to the news recently, and I see that the billionaires are exploring space. That is the new hobby for them. But I think here on Earth, we really have to look at the COVID-19 pandemic, and at some point in time, we've had the industrial revolution, the industrial age, we've had the digital age, and I dare say that this may be called the COVID-19 era, because COVID-19 is here, and I'm certain it will be here for some time. Now, looking at the way that COVID-19 has been impacting all sectors in our community and impacting every person, so to speak, it really has to be the center stage of most discussions right now. And so I would, want to speak a little bit about the COVID-19 and some of the things that we are doing, some of the things that we think should be done, and some of the things that have been done. As we are aware, we're now looking at, we were exposed some time ago to the Lambda variant, and now we are understanding that the Delta variant is creating some serious concern. And, the scientific studies around the vaccines provide new insights from day to day. And so, there are alternative treatments that are being looked at. And so we have to really be on a state of being in motion at all times. We have to understand that this is not a situation where it can be business as usual, because we do not know what the circumstances from day to day would be. And so I was quite pleased actually to have listened to the Prime Minister and the stimulus, the second stimulus package that he rolled out. I must commend him for listening to some of the concerns that were expressed by our people. Our people have been struggling for a long time, some since March 2020, and trying to make ends meet in this current environment is not easy. I think that he had to really dig deep to provide a comprehensive stimulus package. And so I commend him, not so much for the stimulus package, but for listening to some of the cries and some of the concerns and trying to respond to same. Now, one of the things that the Prime Minister indicated is that in the last budget, his cabinet placed about $3 million in the Fresh Start program. And he would have indicated that about 45 loan applications were approved in about 6 months. And I really couldn't help but compare this $3 million to the $5 million CEDU loan program that we have here in Nevis. And that program was initiated in January 2020. And our Premier is still struggling to get the money out to the people of Nevis and into the economy. And that is a major concern because based on the situation that we're in right now, whatever measures need to be put in place so that we can overcome the challenges and get the money out and circulated into the economy should be a priority. It should be a priority because we cannot have a $5 million fund. And since January of 20, almost going into 3 years, and because of whatever the bureaucracies are, the money has not been expended compared to 3 million and 45 applications in just over 6 months. So I think one of the issues really is that we have to see that people are our priority. And looking at what has been happening in Nevis, we're not seeing any changes at all in the capital development projects. No changes to, say, divert resources to some of the families that are struggling. And when people cannot buy food and they cannot put gas in their cars, how can road construction be a priority in these times? And so I started off by saying that we have to understand that we're living in a very dynamic type of environment right now, and we have to be able to make adjustments as the needs arise. And so, some may say we want to build Nevis brick by brick, and I would say we want to build Nevis person by person, business by business. Because when people are able to work and contribute to the economy, and when businesses are thriving, then we're in a much better position to have a more holistic approach to the development of Nevis. And so right now, while I could commend some of the items that were put forward in the stimulus package, I must say that here in Nevis, we're really having serious challenges with regards to our response to the COVID-19 impact. I would go on to say that the PM also spoke about the food security in Nevis and how, agricultural land were being managed and allocated for farming. And I heard him praising the PS, Ron Collins. And I think the work that Ron Collins has been doing as a PS in agriculture is really commendable. He has really put the focus on building food security. And one must understand that this is the direction in which we have to go at this point in time. Now, again, I can't help but do the comparisons between what is being done in St Kitts and what is being done in Nevis. And when we look, for example, at our Minister of Agriculture here in Nevis, yet to put any policies in place that would minimize conflict among our farmers. And we are seeing through poor management, poor policies or lack of policies thereof, the development of agriculture in Nevis is really struggling and suffering under the current administration. Again, the priorities must be put in place, the priorities must be important. I mean, I would have listened to our Premier speak about the first stimulus that was provided, stimulus to the farmers and to the fishers, etc. And then really felt that it was not his responsibility to ensure that those funds were managed properly. And so he would have complained that the vendors are not passing on the savings to the consumers. Well, whose responsibility is that to ensure that policies are in place? And so while the first stimulus, it was quite clear with regards to how it would impact and be beneficial to Nevis, we could see that that first stimulus was not managed effectively, and so there was no trickle-down effect. And those are issues that we have to be really concerned about. Now, when we look at the agriculture department, we would all know that there was a new cold storage facility that was commissioned some time ago. And we must commend the Department of Agriculture, the PS there, Mr. Sargent, and the other staff for really bringing these type of activities to fruition. what is necessary and what is required is a clear focus on where the leaders would want to take Nevis as far as agriculture is concerned. And we are not hearing anything about repurposing of agricultural products. And that has to be pretty much at the core of any type of development in Nevis when we're looking at food security. So, I'm listening to the PM's, the Prime Minister's address and the stimulus package, and really comparing to see how Nevis is benefiting. And I must say that we're not benefiting as we ought to, because the leadership in place right now is not articulating and putting the necessary measures in place so that we can benefit as we ought to. I'm just going to wrap up a little bit on that. You heard about the... Yes?
Not to cut you off, but if I may pose a question as we continue. As you mentioned some of the challenges that Nevis face at this particular point in time, as you mentioned the SIDU program, where I think the government is offering $5 million, whilst here in St Kitts there were loan access up to, I think, $45 million, somewhere in that region. If you are given the opportunity to lead during this time, how would you address the issue of unemployment? Because you see, these are some of the programs that were implemented to address the issue of unemployment and to make sure that people can provide for their families. So how do you address the issue of unemployment during the pandemic?
Well, you see, the concern is, like I said, we would have, when I say we, the NIA, would have looked at the CD program, specifically I'm speaking about that, at a point in time when the COVID-19 and the impacts of COVID-19 would not have been felt. And so when I speak about the need to be able to be flexible and to listen to the community and to listen to people about what the concerns are, it is necessary for us to understand that unemployment, when people are out of work because of the pandemic, these are the same people that you would need to identify and find ways to get them engaged. And so while we have this money in SIDU, sitting down with the same bureaucratic procedures that were in place prior to the pandemic or before the pandemic got to our shores, then find some way to make adjustments. Find some way to make adjustments. I understand and I appreciate that that program was put in place for women as a priority group, and also young males. And so when we look at the type of projects that are being put forward under that project, there has to be some leniency. And whereas if you require collateral to access these funds, then understand that these are the times when persons may not have access to the collateral that is required. And so we must have faith and trust in our people that they're willing to work hard, they're willing to contribute. This is a time where they need to put food on the tables of their families, and allow them to be entrepreneurial, allow them to undertake the activities that they would want to do without the restrictions and the red tapes as if this is business as usual. We're not in a situation where it's business as usual. And so these are some of the things that we would have to do in order to get, especially and speaking specifically about the CD program, rolled out to where the money can start circulating in our economy.
Right, thank you, Dr. Daniel. If we may continue, it is just 12:50. Take a break at 1 o'clock for to acknowledge our sponsors, and we will come back. But if we may continue this conversation now, we know that Nevis's economy is much smaller than the economy on St Kitts, and for someone who lives on Nevis, you can give your perspective of how Nevis has been, in your opinion, affected by the pandemic. Can you say what are some of the issues you see affecting Nevis's economy, and how do you plan to address these issues?
Well, I think, Mr. Cornelius, one of the things that we can look at, just recently, the Social Security Board would have given a $275,000 food voucher initiative program. And the split was 80-20. Now, my concern is, was any question or were any questions asked about why is the split 80-20? When we look, for example, at the target for the vaccination program, we're using the 2011 census data. And that data puts the population in St. Kitts and Nevis at roughly 74% in St. Kitts, 26% in Nevis. When we look at the contribution from Social Security in Nevis compared to the Social Security in St. Kitts, it's roughly about 25% from Nevis. So why is it acceptable that when monies are being provided to help struggling persons, how do we arrive at a 80-20 split? I cannot see which matrix was used to arrive at 80-20. At least it should have been 25%. And as you so rightly said, the cost of living in Nevis is much higher than it is in St. Kitts. And so even though the demographics would put us at 75 to 25%, then just looking at the cost of living in Nevis, you would understand that things are more expensive here. And so whereas $1 could probably stretch for one dinner in St. Kitts, it will not, suffice in Nevis. Now, if you look at the COVID-19 situation, the cost of a PCR test in Nevis is $400 each dollars. And as I understand it, the cost in St. Kitts is $270. So we can see there are lots of disparities with regards to the cost of living in St. Kitts and the cost of living in Nevis. And so we must be able to recognize these discrepancies and understand that we must be present at the table and negotiate for the best interest of the people in Nevis. And so when we look at the approach that this NIA government is taking, we understand that it is really in no shape or form in the best interest of the people of Nevis. We just recently saw in the House of Assembly here, the solid waste management bill was passed. Now, this is an era where we're looking at, prevention of plastic pollution. We're looking at new technologies. And rather than develop an ordinance that will try to incentivize persons, give people incentives to reduce solid waste production, this NIA is sitting back and waiting for you to violate and give you a heavy penalty. And so it just seems, the discrepancy between the cost of PCR testing in Nevis and St. Kitts, the leaning towards the penalties of violating, it just seems as if this government is really looking at creating an economy that's just based on taxation, where the people must carry the burden of the taxes that we have to deal with. And so at this point in time, we really have to understand that a stimulus package was provided in St. Kitts. We are not certain, we are not clear about what the position is in Nevis. Now, we would have seen the Premier when the announcement was made for the lockdown to come and rebut what the Prime Minister would have indicated and stated that conditions in Nevis were different. And so people saw that as, well, okay, conditions in Nevis are different. So why is it now, when the Prime Minister spoke with regards to the stimulus package, the Premier is nowhere to be seen with regards to how does that impact the economy of Nevis? And we speak about the economy of Nevis, understanding that, yes, we do receive income from St. Kitts, but we also have the authority and the wherewithal here in Nevis, in our NIA, to seek funding and to seek revenue sources. to be able to address some of the situations that we're dealing with. We do not necessarily have to wait until St. Kitts put forth a stimulus to say, well, what is our share? What is our fair share? Now, from the Social Security initiative that was given, the Premier could not even get the fair share of $275,000. How can he expect to negotiate the fair share of the CBI program? And so we're looking at these very simple matters where Nevis keeps getting the short end of the stick. Why is the PCR testing in Nevis so much more expensive than it is in St. Kitts? And so we can see that the government is prepared to sit back, be lazy, receive money from the federal government, tax the citizens of Nevis, and that is their way of providing an economy. And unfortunately, that is not the way that you can develop a country and you can have a sustainable economy in an island.
Right, thank you, Dr. Daniel Hodge. As I said, we're going to take a break at 1 o'clock to say thank you to our sponsors. I just spoke about the comparison of the COVID-19 PCR tests between St. Kitts and Nevis. I came across an article from St. Vincent and Grenadines where you pay $26 for a COVID-19 test. So in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it says get vaccinated, or so essentially people who are not vaccinated, you would have to pay for a COVID-19 test. And so basically your question is, how is it that here in Nevis is $400, on St. Kitts it's over $200, and so this is not just a question that came from you, but a question that came from generally people within the community as to why the price for a COVID-19 test is so high. Meanwhile, in other Caribbean countries, it is extremely low. We're going to take a break at this time. It's 12:58, but we'll take a break at this time to say thank you to the sponsors for this program. And when we come back, we are going to continue. Let's take this short break, and we will be right back.
Run to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store now and get a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. By popular demand, Cashback is back, but this time Cashback is back with more quality appliances, more great prices and fantastic deals, more of Hosford's fabulous FlexPay payment plan, and more free groceries. A whole year of free groceries. Come to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store today and get absolutely free groceries with every higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. Great deals on furniture and appliances. Get cash back for free groceries with FlexPay higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year with every $500 spent. All great reasons to shop at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store this coupon season. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tag Specials from July 15 through 28. 32-ounce Gatorade, just $4.99. Hawaiian Punch drinks, $11.99. Dannon and Activia yogurts, 4 packs, fit and light, just $12.99. Cole's garlic bread, toast, $12.99. Granola bars, just $10.99 per pack. Pastaroni or rice-a-roni, just $4.99. And now, our very low weekly value deal. Essential Everyday and IGA Honey Beer, $12.99. Breyers Ice Cream, 48 ounces, just $20.99. Colgate Toothpaste, $9.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart. Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí a Value Mart.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Voices here on WINN FM 98.9. It is just 1 o'clock and you're listening to Voices. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. For those of you who tuned in late, I am joined with the leader of the Nevis Reformation Party, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, and we're talking about some of the issues currently affecting more specifically Nevis, where Dr. Daniel Hodge is from. Dr. Daniel, if we may continue this conversation. Now, earlier we spoke about the stimulus package announced here on St Kitts and some of the implications for Nevis, and in terms of the coverage. What are some, if I may ask, what are some policies or initiatives that you would have implemented that you think the people of Nevis would have benefited from? So what can you say what you would have added to the stimulus package to benefit people on Nevis?
Right. Well, thanks for that question. Yeah. So provided that the stimulus package in St. Kitts translates or relates also to Nevis, we must understand our environment here, our economical environment. It's different to that in St. Kitts. And so some of the things that we would have to look at here on Nevis that may not necessarily be such a serious concern in St. Kitts has to do with the disparity, I think, between the number of people who are out of work. Of course, after the NIA, the Four Seasons Hotel would have been our largest employer. And we would have seen, even before COVID-19, that a number of businesses were leaving Nevis. And so in terms of the target group or the target population that we would need to look at, now the government workers have not been impacted, but the tourism sector employees definitely would have been impacted. And so when we look at the number of cases that we have in Nevis compared to the number of cases that we have in St. Kitts, certainly the number of the hours for lockdown really ought not have to be as stringent as it is in St. Kitts. Now, as far as childcare service and parents, the issue is trying to maintain the separation for children, the social distancing in daycare services. That has been a problem. Daycare services, many of them have been unable to open because it is not practical for them to open to only have maybe 4 or 5 children. So I would have tried to ensure that we have sufficient daycare services available, whether we can identify buildings that are not in use right now and convert them into facilities where parents can take their children and then provide opportunities so that those mothers, especially because a number of mothers and women would have been laid off from the Four Seasons sector. And so one of the challenges that they're having, though, is that they have to stay at home with their children because the daycare is not open, schools are not open. And so trying to address that situation would have been, very important in order to get people back out and working. We also must look at some of the other areas where we would need to get assistance. There are a number of young people who are at home. A number of them would like to be able to further their education, but they are at home, they're not working, and there's no provision in place where they can even access online courses. Of course, online courses would require that you have the necessary Wi-Fi service, etc., and means to be paying for these courses. So while we're in this state of where the economy is very slow, provide opportunities for a number of our students, many who would have came out of sixth form, who are at home unemployed, allow them to build their skills, provide opportunities for them to even get certified or to get degrees in alternative areas, so that once the economy is reopened, then they are qualified to be able to take on positions. And again, we get back to the entrepreneurial drive where persons are able to start up their own businesses. That is something where people still need guidance, people still need some tutelage. So I think in terms of the education, etc., that is important. We speak a lot about our environment. We speak a lot about conservation initiatives. And so creating employment opportunities in those natural resource areas is also something that will be very important, because as we start to lean more towards building food security and self-reliant, then we would need to be able to have the type of resources that can support and accommodate those. So training in self-sufficiency, whether it's in developing agricultural lands, whether it's in aquaculture, marine resources, etc. These are the type of things, because eventually we're going to have to find a way to be as self-reliant as we can be. And so those different skill sets that will help us to be able to grow our own food, reap our own food, that will help us to remain connected with the world in terms of telecommunications, etc. These are some of the things that I think we ought to be able to do. So in the first instance, provide the facilities so that women especially can get back out. We know that there's some construction work going on right now that is primarily a male-dominated sector. And so even though the development that is going on right now, we're not seeing where it's sustainable. We're seeing roads upon roads upon roads upon roads. At the end of the day, you're not building community centers where people can then go and find, whether you have like an incubator type system where you can learn different skills, etc. And we have nothing against roads per se, but in this particular time, we have to be able to look at how are we preparing ourselves for the world that we do not know what it's going to be like. So educate our people who are at home sitting down, provide opportunities for the many of the women who would have been working in the hotel industry at home, provide opportunities for them to be able to get out and to explore and to find new employment opportunities, etc. I think those are some of the things that we would need to look at.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Hodge. If we may shift the conversation just a bit. Now, there has been some talk and chatter coming from different businesses here in St Kitts and Nevis, across the Caribbean region as well. But, here in St Kitts and Nevis, as it relates to the mandatory administration of the COVID-19 vaccine, I wanted to ask you, what is your opinion on the mandatory COVID-19 vaccination requirement for continued and or future employment? And how does that affect us for the good or the bad?
Very interesting question, Mr. Cornelius. Well, what I would say, we phrase it in different ways. We know at one point the Prime Minister hinted at mandatory vaccination in terms of some research and some studies that were being looked at. And I think at that point in time, I would have indicated that mandatory vaccination is not acceptable and it should not be the way to go. Somehow we now see where private businesses and employers, what I would say using acts of coercion, the fact that the employers can feel comfortable enough to threaten employees in what I would call acts of discrimination, I think is something that is a serious concern. And I think that governments, wherever you are, should really represent all of the people and should really aim to avoid discrimination and divisiveness amongst its citizens and residents. Now, some employers have threatened the livelihoods of people with regards to whether or not they are vaccinated. And these employees really need legal representation, because in terms of providing an ultimatum, basically, that is pretty much mandatory vaccination requirement. We already spoke about the high cost of even doing the PCR test here on Nevis. And so it's almost as if people are being forced out of their jobs. And if you're able to get legal representation and look at your employment contracts and see what the terms are, you may be able to find some redress there. But most of these employees, they're not rich, they're not able to afford legal services. And the concern that we have is that there is a psychological impact. And while persons may not be suffering directly from the COVID-19 virus, then certainly those persons who have made a choice for whatever their reason, whether it's a religious reason or whatever reason, to not be vaccinated, they really ought not to be discriminated. And so this is something that we in the NRP are looking at very closely, and we are prepared to take a position with regards to the discrimination amongst employees. This pretty much goes back to the state of emergency and what rights have been suspended or not suspended. And then one must question whether or not we really need to have a state of emergency for 6 months. And so we do understand that there are concerns. It gives the government certain rights and certain leeways to protect the safety of or the health of the majority of the population. But I'm saying, where is the discourse? Where is the discussion? It is as if, decisions are made and they're just handed down, and the necessary input to ensure that all sectors are represented, and especially the residents of Nevis, we're not seeing where that representation is being made. And so, we have heard some leaders feel that because you're in a leadership position, you should be able to command that the residents and citizens of Nevis do as you say. And that, I think, is very troubling. And to some extent, there is some talk about a political divide with regards to the vaccination program. And when you look at a political divide, you would want to be able to say that all of one party would have taken the vaccination and all of another party did not take the vaccination. And I am of the view that if you really had to do an assessment or an analysis, you would not really see that political divide as some people are trying to put forward. We're of the view, some persons for medical reasons are not able to take the vaccine. Their voices have to be heard. It cannot be that this is what we need from a economic point of view, and nothing else, whether religious, whether medical, nothing else matters, and so everything has to be mandated. And so when we talk about leadership, and we're talking about persons who feel that if you're in a leadership position, you should be able to command the actions of people, then what I would say to that, we know that the vaccination is a medical matter, and doctors are the experts with regards to the comorbidities, with regards to the side effects, etc. So why isn't there a program in place where, and maybe this speaks to the first question, one of the earlier questions that you asked about what I would do. Facing the pandemic as we are right now, some persons do not know if they're diabetic. Some persons do not know if they have hypertension. And so some persons have not visited a doctor in years. And so they don't know. So when we look at how easy it seems to be to find monies for election campaigns, why couldn't some money be set aside to provide medical assistance to persons to help relieve some of that hesitancy that people are having? If I don't know what my status is, I would be hesitant. But if you know that the government is providing where you can go and get a free medical checkup and then have your doctor advise as to whether or not you're in a certain risk category, I think that would go a very far way. And also with regards to if you're suffering from side effects, etc., people end up in the hospital and they have that burden of cost to cover hospital bills. So if we are really serious about trying to look at how we can address the vaccination program and whether or not it needs to be mandatory, many people are concerned about the one vaccine that is being offered because of some of the reported side effects per se. So where is the discussion about what are we doing to try to at least address that segment of the population who are concerned about a particular vaccine? Where is the discussion about what other vaccine we may or may not be able? Where is the discussion about maybe other options that may be available to address COVID-19? And so it really has a lot to do with disregarding or disrespecting genuine concerns that people may have and not addressing them. And so we're at the point where employers feel that it's okay for them to threaten, the livelihoods of persons by telling them that if they're not vaccinated, they may be terminated. And so as a government, we ought not condone that type of discriminatory practice. And these are some of the things that we really need to look at to ensure that all of our citizens and residents are treated equally, regardless of their medical condition, regardless of their religious concerns, etc.
All right, thank you, Dr. Daniel Hodge. We're going to open the phone lines at this time, and we're going to take some calls. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. Call us and be a part of this conversation. Pose your questions, and I'll give Dr. Daniel Hodge the opportunity to respond to as many questions as possible, and we're going to take as many callers as possible. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 62. You're listening to WINN FM 98.9, and I am here with Dr. Janice Daniel. She is the leader of the Nevis Reformation Party. We have no calls at this time, Dr. Daniel Hodge, so we'll take a short break to say thank you to the sponsors, and when we come back, we're going to take some callers from the public. Let's take this short break, and we will be right back.
Run to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store now and get a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. By popular demand, Cashback is back, but this time Cashback is back with more quality appliances, more great prices and fantastic deals, more of Hosford's fabulous FlexPay payment plan, and more free groceries. A whole year of free groceries. Come to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store today and get absolutely free groceries with every higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. Great deals on furniture and appliances. Get cash back for free groceries with FlexPay higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year with every $500 spent. All great reasons to shop at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store this coupon season. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tag Specials from July 15 through 28. 32-ounce Gatorade, just $4.99. Hawaiian Punch drinks, $11.99. Danone and Activia yogurts, 4 packs, fit and light, just $12.99. Cole's garlic bread, toast, $12.99. Granola bars, just $10.99 per pack. pastaroni, or rice-a-roni, just $4.99. And now, our very low weekly value deal. Essential Everyday and IGA Honey Beer, $12.99. Breyers Ice Cream, 48 ounces, just $20.99. Colgate Toothpaste, $9.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart. Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí a Value Mart.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. It is 1:22. We're going to wrap up the program at 1:30. We have our first call. Let's take our call. Good afternoon. You are live on Voices. Okay, we lost that caller. We apologize for that. We're still taking calls. We're going to take the calls. Allow you to pose your questions, and Dr. Daniel Hodge, I'm going to give you that chance to respond. We have a caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Yes, good day to you and your guests. My question to Dr. Daniel is this. There seems to be a lot of confusion of late as to where federal, whether stimulus package or resources generally, where federal responsibility starts and where it ends, and what is exclusively NIA. I would like to Dr. Hodge to give her views on whether this relationship between St Kitts and Nevis sharing the resources, if that is going to be a priority. Does she see it as a hindrance right now? Because obviously the NIA, whatever plans and programs she may have, cannot work without some reliable source of funding. So is it going to take constitutional reform, or what negotiations, or what does how does she plan to deal with this issue that seems to be surfacing? Well, it's always been there, but it seems now to be surfacing more than ever. That's the question.
Right. Thank you, caller, so much for your question. We'll take 2 more calls, and then we'll allow you to respond, Dr. Daniel Hodge. Callers, questions as short as possible, straight to the point, as we're running out for time. So we'll take another caller. We have a caller on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Yes, greetings forwardly and the same to your guest. My beloved sister, welcome forward. You know, a brother always say we want some leaders, we want some woman in leadership position, and I see that we're there. Yeah, it's time for that, you know. So just go up. Even up to the point of being PM or Premier. See it? Okay. What's the level of your vision for something like entrepreneurship? We'll hang up and listen. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, caller. Dr. Daniel Hodge, if you did not, he wanted, what is your vision on entrepreneurship, I guess, as it relates to Nevis? Let's take one more call and then allow you to give your response quickly. We have any callers on the line? We have a caller. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Hi, good afternoon, Deborah, and I'm so glad I got in. And good afternoon to the leader of the NRP. Let me say my questions 1, 2, 3 quickly. And a statement. Now, in terms of the agriculture.
No, hold on. We don't have enough time.
All right.
We don't have enough to take as many questions.
Question.
So we'll take
When is the
one
NIA
question.
election and has campaigning begun? Those are my 2 questions. Has campaigning begun, and when is the NIA election? All right.
Right. Thank you so much, caller, for your contribution. Dr. Daniel Hodge, if I may recap the questions quickly. So from the first caller, it was federal responsibility as it relates to Nevis. Did you get that one? The second one was your vision for entrepreneurship. And the last one was, has campaign begun for NRP, and when is the NIA elections? You may go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Yvonne. With only 4 minutes, I will try to address as clearly as I can. With regards to the financial relationship between the federal government and the NIA, we have the constitution that exists. We know that there is a provision for support to the NIA. We would have seen where there was a Charleston Accord that was drafted. Unfortunately, the NIA did not ensure that the Charleston Accord was made official or codified, and so it was just a matter of dealing with based on what you would want. So most importantly, the financial relationship between the federal government and the NIA would be clearly established in a well thought out negotiated instrument, and so that should not be an issue going forward before we get to the need for constitutional reform at this point in time. Clearly, negotiation for the best interest of Nevis would be the best way to go, I think, in order to establish what the official relationship is between St Kitts and Nevis with regards to financing. With regards to entrepreneurship, I would have spoken extensively over and over at different occasions with regards to the blue-green economy. I think this would be the way to go with regards to looking at the sustainable development goals and how you can achieve a sustainable economy that would be beneficial, not just from an economical point of view, but also from a social and environmental perspective. And so exploring the sustainable development goals, exploring the blue-green economy, all of the things that we can do with our marine environment. We have much more marine space than we have land space, and we have not really exploited the uses of that area from an economic or job creation perspective. And so I see a number of entrepreneurial opportunities from exploring the blue-green economy as we go forward. The NRP, we would have started the reorganizing and the rebranding of the party. It's a phased approach. We have not begun campaign in earnest. We are engaging the public. We are engaging the communities, understanding what the real concerns are. And so while we are out and about, our campaign in earnest has not officially begun at this point in time. The next election, NIA election, is constitutionally due in December of 2022. Of course, we know that it's at the discretion of the Premier to call the election at any time that he so deems it necessary. And so while we have not started campaigning in earnest, we are aware that an election can be upon us at any time. And so we're trying to, at this point in time, to be as organized as we can be, and then roll out the campaign where we can reach out more to the communities and address the concerns that people may have.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel Hodge. I'm so sorry we are out of time. I wish we had more time to continue, as I had some other questions and there were some other callers that were trying to get in. But we are going to wrap up at this point in time, and probably later on in the future we may be able to ask you for a comment on matters related to this. But let me say thank you so much for accepting our invitation here at WINN FM. Thank you to the callers and those other persons that participated in the program, and this has been Voices. For those of you who tuned in late, our guest was Dr. Janice Daniel of the Nevis Reformation Party, speaking on some of the issues as it relates to Nevis, the Federation, but mostly to Nevis. Thank you guys so much, and thank you guys so much for joining us today. I've been your host, Devon Cornelius. Stay tuned. Coming up next is Working for You. Daniel Hodge, thank you, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you, and do stay safe. Thank you.
Have a good one.